And I was going to ask you, George, like you guys, obviously, a company that loans, does a lot of loans, and I was curious what your thoughts were. I mean, do you think it's, what is it you think that's kind of holding people back? Is it the rise of interest rates, the rise of prices? I think some of it's affordability, but what else do you think, on the mortgage side of it that's causing people maybe not to pull the trigger?
Well, it could be a couple things. I mean, we talked about the flood insurance and different things.
That's been an impact, no question.
That's been an impact. And I think now people are getting the word that it's going to be held back, and everyone's coming back into the market. It could be a variety of things. Rates have been going up and down. They're back down today.
Right, so they went up, which probably shocks some people. And what's interesting is people pay attention to old news, or they get blinders on. So they see rates went up, and then they're like, okay, I'm going to sit on the sidelines. And they don't catch when rates go back down. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait a second, rates are back down. It's time to buy. And it's crazy, but they do that. They fluctuate.
Every single day.
Something different, right.
Every day rates can go up or go down. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 adjustments during the day, so.
And I think both of those factors, so the flood insurance, so the flood insurance side of it is, an interesting part about, how much of a stigma that created. So you had people that, that were going to buy, or going to sell, and the chaos involving flood insurance spooked them, made them sit on the sidelines. When in reality, it may not have impacted their situation at all.
Yeah, exactly, and a lot of that has to do with the media. There was a lot of media hype over that, and they weren't highlighting, obviously, the home sales that were still paying $300 and $400 a year in flood insurance, and there were a lot of those. Basically, they were going through and cherry picking and finding the homes that were
the worst
paying
case
scenario.
Like I've sold multi-million-dollar properties with you, and the flood insurance was, 400, 500. Low numbers because the houses were built the right way.
Exactly, and the main thing is you just needed to really do your homework. You needed to look around, find the right house, and if you did that, you could still buy a reasonable house at a reasonable price and be happy with the insurance.
So. And that's the mortgage, looking at it from a mortgage perspective, I think people have gotten spooked because, and I talked about this on the show last week with another FBC rep, I think people are spooked that it's harder to qualify for a mortgage, and it's not harder in terms of the qualifications, it's just more process. You gotta have more proof, more documentation, more paperwork. And I think that's some of the reason why you're seeing more cash purchases. Not because those people shouldn't get a mortgage, because a lot of them should, the tax benefits and all, and their money could be better, getting a better return elsewhere. But I think it's because people view it almost like a hassle. Like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. Only because their preconceived notion is from 5 years ago when it was like, do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse? Do you have a job? You get a loan. But now it's, that's the obstacle, right? I think people are more fearful of it.
It is. It's credit, income, and assets. We're going to document everything. 2 months of assets, 2 years of income, pay stubs. We're going to make sure everything's clear. All the pages have to be clear. It is a process, but if you're working with the right team, a good underwriting department, things like that, it's easy to do.
Right. And I think people just heard a few horror stories. Just like anything else, there's bad people in every industry. There's bad lenders, there's bad realtors, there's bad insurance agents. And maybe they've heard bad experiences of somebody going through and having some hassles. But quite frankly, the truth is just like in the media, they always sensationalize the worst case scenarios. That's what shocks people, unfortunately, into making bad decisions. So we're going to be back. We've got Anthony on line 1 with a question. We'll be back to answer his question after a quick news break here on 970 WFLA.